Mic check. Mic check. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And welcome to another episode of the P-Ave Perspective. I'm your host, Mr. O'Neill. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight's episode is entitled Social Media. Is it building our community or is it breaking it? First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching the live stream on YouTube or Facebook. I appreciate you again for tuning in. Or if you're watching the replay of the video that I post on the P-Ave Perspective YouTube channel, I appreciate you tuning in and thank you, thank you, thank you. But like I said, if you dig this topic, I appreciate you sharing it, liking it, and commenting, being involved, and share it with somebody who you feel might want to get involved in the conversation. But as always, we don't just talk about the problems, we talk about solutions. Tonight, like I said, we're discussing one of the most popular inventions in our generation, the internet, and more specifically, social media. Social media connects billions of people instantly. It has created millionaires. It has helped people find jobs, build businesses, reconnect with family members, and even save lives during emergencies. But it has also become a place where division, misinformation, addiction, and unhealthy comparisons thrive. But tonight's question is, are we controlling social media or is social media controlling us? That's the real question. But let's keep it real. I've been dealing with social media since the AOL chat rooms. That's when I first got, turned on to social media, the AOL chat rooms. And originally, social media wasn't designed to destroy people. It was designed to connect people. And it was a simple idea: stay connected with family, share pictures, communicate instantly, build communities, exchange ideas, market your business, and basically to entertain people. And while overall social media is great, it's a great tools, like those things can never be bad. But the challenge is that, to keep it real, when you really just analyze it for what it is, social media companies, the free sites, Facebook, Instagram, all those are free sites. And the key to those free sites being free is that those site owners or those people who own those platforms, they make money through advertising. That's why it's able to be free for everybody. And I dig that. I really do. Because like I said, they are powerful tools. They are powerful tools if used properly. But like I said, the thing is, in order for them to be free for us, the owners have to sell a lot of advertising. And that's where it starts with the problem. Because in order to sell advertising and make money through advertising, that money is based on how long the people stay on the platform. And the longer people stay on the platform, the more ads they see. And that creates an incentive for the companies to keep people on the platform longer and keep people engaged as long as possible. But when you get right down to it now, research has shown that the content that causes strong emotion, the content that causes strong emotional responses, often receives more engagement than ordinary content. And let's be real, as a result of that, users have gotten to the point where we see more conflict, we see more outrage, we see more gossip, we see more sensational stories, because to keep it real, those posts generate comments, they generate the shares, and they generate the watch time. And basically, in a nutshell, society as a whole, we like negativity. We respond better to the negativity. And that's important to the platform, because platforms are not concerned with what's healthy. They're not even concerned with what's true. They are optimized for what will keep people watching. What will keep people watching and what will keep people interacting. So in that manner, and due to the fact that we really prefer the negativity and the drama, social media has become what it's become today. And people always say, well, the companies who control it, it's an algorithm. They're, constantly seeing what people gravitate to. They're constantly seeing what people like the most. They're constantly seeing what people gravitate to. And let's be clear, the problems we're discussing affect people of every race, but every community has its own challenges. And like I said, I don't get into other people too much. I get into us. I talk about us. I discuss us. And for many Black communities, some patterns deserve honest discussion when it comes to the social media thing. And let's keep it real. Drama goes viral. As simple as that. Peace or positive things rarely trend. Every now and then you'll catch a positive story, but we like the gossip. We not like the negativity. We like the fights. We like the drama. We like people getting exposed. And then so many of us have gotten so caught up to the point where we prefer or we jump to the false information. You know, we get to the point where now, like I've said before, we don't even check to see if the story is real or if it comes from a reputable source. Everything is so instant now that once we see it, once we see the headlines, a lot of us, want to be the first one to post it, or we want to, attract the engagement to our page. So we just jump out there and share stuff. And that's mainly arguments, fights, people being publicly humiliated. Many of our young people and older people are learning that attention comes from conflict rather than good character. Negative images spread faster. Millions of black men and women, on a positive note, are raising families, starting businesses, working hard, serving in their communities, graduating from college, mentoring youth. We do so much positive stuff. But these stories often receive far less attention than videos of conflict. And like I said, it is what it is, but I don't like it. And I know a lot of other people that don't like it. But when extreme examples dominate feeds, they can distort how people view us as people and really how we view ourselves. And it's just not good. But like I said, now that they've monetized a lot of these social media, platforms, people have started leaning more toward chasing clout instead of purpose. And that's always harmful. Some people have begun measuring success by how many followers you have, how many likes you get on a particular post, how many views you get, or pushing for the viral moment. People are literally showing their tail to go viral. And like I said, everybody is grown. Everybody get to do what they want to do. Everybody make their own choices and decisions. But overall, it makes us look bad. We talk about how people portray us. We talk about how other people treat us. We talk about how other people don't respect us. We talk about how other people, don't have respect for our lives. But with a lot of this content and a lot of the stuff we dodge into, we actually show that we don't care about ourselves. Instead of education, instead of financial stability, instead of showing character, instead of emphasizing family, strong family, faith, long-term goals, instead of, emphasizing that type of stuff, we push the negative. We push what we think is going to make us go viral. Now a lot of us are willing to exploit our kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never seen so many people who are comfortable promoting their kids cursing, promoting their kids, singing these songs that they really shouldn't be listening to, word for word too. And it's crazy. Like I said, I'm old enough to remember when that just wasn't accepted. And now it's more so accepted, more than ever, even when we know it's wrong. And when we know our kids shouldn't be indulging in certain activities, we'll catch it on video just so we can, put it online to let other people, critique our kids, talk down on our kids, talk about how bad of a parent we are, and all of this, just so we can get those interactions and we can possibly go viral. And again, it's just not cool. It's just not cool. It puts us, not only the individuals, but it puts us as a whole in a bad light. But social media constantly promotes lifestyles that is really difficult for people to attain. Like I've said, social media allows you to, put your best foot forward. It allows you to fake it till we make it. I can't remember over the years how many people I've seen put up a front on social media, and then when you meet them in real life, it's it's nothing like they are on social media. The lifestyle that they live is nothing like they live on social media. We see, come on, we see these, men fronting, flashing their little money, you know what I'm saying, and looking like they got it all together. We see these women out here looking like they're teens. And like you said, a lot of them just fronting for social media because they get the attention. And let me say this, like, we've gotten drunk off attention. We've gotten drunk off attention because, like I said, it's so easy to fake it until we make it on social media. Like, people are, fronting luxury cars, like this trend not too long ago of the prom, getting ready for prom or going to prom. Like, I've seen some amazing out of the way stuff. And like I've said once or twice before, I've seen people spend more on the prom setup for their kids than they have put up for college. And that's, like I said, that's crazy to me. That's crazy. It'll never make sense. But the luxury cars, designer clothes, expensive vacations, jewelry, and it's a false sense. It's a false lifestyle. I've seen, honestly, I've seen young ladies resort to tricking, with men that they don't even desire just to get taken on a trip. I've seen people front, at expensive restaurants, knowing they po broke, but fronting at expensive restaurants, capping about where they at, where the restaurant they at, what are they eating, what they're eating, and really, a lot of them don't even have the etiquette to fit in those type of places. But it's so much about the image now. And like I said, I come from the keep it real era. None of it makes sense. I'm gonna be me every day. I'm the same me on social media that I am in person or that I am in public. And like I said, it's just a lack of focus. It's just a lack of focus. Like I said, it's more about faking it until you make it instead of actually making it. And what do y'all think about that? Talk to me, let me know something. Lena, what's good? Miss Keziah, how you doing tonight? Thank y'all for tuning in. But another thing is, we waste so much time with social media and the negativity. Since we mostly indulging in negativity, I don't see how a person can, waste that much time. But imagine somebody regularly, and like I said, I even got caught up in this. Imagine somebody spending 4 hours a day, every day scrolling, just watching other people fake it, watching these fake stories, watching these fight videos, watching these videos of these half naked women, like, honestly, I realized, like, that's literally like 1,500 hours a year that we spend on negativity. That's time that we can't get back. And like I said, we know time is the most valuable asset that we have, but so many of us are wasting our life away on social media. Like, imagine, like I said, 1,500 hours a year. That's time that could be spent on something positive. Spending time with your family, learning a trade, reading some books, building a business, improving our health, mentoring young people, but it's wasted. And believe it or not, we don't understand it, but those small daily choices compound over time. Just like I said, 3 or 4 hours a day could end up 1,500 hours a year. That's wasted that we can't get back. For what? And for the people who feel like, people are not influenced by it, that's bogus. You have to be really slow to feel like you can indulge and you can, expose yourself to that much negativity and it don't affect you. And if it don't, that means you're a negative person because nobody in their right mind can be exposed to that much negativity and it not affect them in some kind of way. I'm gonna just keep it real. Like I said, people might not want to hear it, but maybe we've gotten so negative or we've gotten so, caught up in the negative ourselves that we don't see it. But it definitely affects us, man. And the impact on our children is even worse. Children are growing up in a world where a lot of their role models are online. A lot of their role models are online. Like I'm in tune with my son. And like I said, that YouTube, those videos, those, reels, some creators, offer education and encouragement, but others promote risky behavior or unrealistic lifestyles. I'm amazed sometimes at some of the stuff my son come and tells me that he sees on YouTube, or he, even on the games, the games where they can communicate with each other. Like we've seen our kids get lured away from the house. We've seen, meet strange people online. There's just so much negativity going on to the point where it's really scary. But a lot of us are so caught up in it, we don't see it. We don't see the stuff that our children are exposed to. And it's ridiculous. But parents, grandparents, mentors, our church people, all of the real positive people have a role in helping young people think critically about what they consume online. And I think we're dropping the ball. It's not everybody. It never is. But it's enough of us now to the point where we see it. We see it. The music they're exposed to, the videos, the lifestyle that they're exposed to. We see it. We see it. And like I always say, with this negativity, with this, music, they're exposed to so much music. Right now, it's the drill music. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that it's not affecting our kids. And just like I said, for the people who say, oh, well, it's on the parents to monitor their kids and monitor what they do, that is true. But the one thing I learned is you could be the perfect parent. You can raise the perfect child. But once you allow your child to walk out that door, it increases the chances of them meeting somebody who don't have the perfect parent, who kids are not perfect, who kids are indulging in this negativity, this negative music. And believe me, we all know it's only a matter of time before your perfect child runs into the wrong person who parents haven't been, controlling what they see and controlling what they're exposed to. And that's when the problems happen. We see it all the time. We see it all the time. Like, just watch social media. You see it all the time. We see all these, good young kids, good young black kids who were raised right, who had good parents, who do good in school, get caught up in the negativity and lose their life or throw their life away. We see it all the time. I do because I try to catch, all those stories, but I see it and I know we all do. But social media is not all bad. It's about how we use it. That's the beautiful thing about it. Social media itself is not bad. It's how it's used and what we choose to consume. But there are so many opportunities. So social media offers so many opportunities. It just isn't a source of problems. It can also be a powerful, powerful tool. It can be a tool like I use it. I use it to build businesses, and many entrepreneurs have built successful companies by sharing their work online. Customers can discover businesses without expensive advertising. It's how it's used. I see people who use it to teach, and believe it or not, everybody has knowledge. Everybody has something that they can share that somebody else needs. Everybody has experienced things that the youth will eventually experience. You know, from cooking to how to repair a car, how to fix a car, parenting advice, financial literacy, how to save money, how to grow your money, you know, construction, how to build stuff, how to repair stuff, leadership skills, how to take care of yourself health wise, faith, you know, your experiences have value. All of that has value. But I see so few of us who are sharing that type of stuff online. If you want to share something positive. Like I said, I thought about that before I started doing this little weekly show. I thought about, like, do I want to be a part of the problem, or do I want to be a part of the solution? Do I want to help, or do I want to destroy? But social media can be used to inspire people. One encouraging message can reach thousands of people. One encouraging video, a testimony can change someone's perspective on life, a perspective on their situation. A lesson learned from hardship may help somebody avoid the same mistakes. Even being willing to be honest and be vulnerable and share some of the mistakes you made, share some of the bad choices or decisions you made. Even that could help somebody else avoid those same choices and decisions. But social media can be used to organize. I've seen so many other people organize for negativity. The march on, Washington. So much stuff, it's been used to facilitate so much negativity. It could be used for positive stuff. Organize a community. Organize neighborhood cleanups. I've seen a few people do that. Promote events. Promote events for the youth. Recruit volunteers for different things. Raise money for families in need. Not just, capitalizing off tragedy after somebody died, but raising money to help people, highlighting Black-owned businesses. I plan on doing more of that myself, but technology can strengthen communities when used intentionally. Technology can strengthen individuals when used intentionally. We always talk about the power of Black people. If we as Black people came together and utilized social media properly, like, it could put us back in power. It could put us back on top, or it could continue to destroy us and put us at the bottom of the barrel while we looking like we doing something good. But like I said, I always talk about the problems, but most importantly, I highlight the problems so we can get to the point where we can talk about the solutions. So I want to share 5 ways that I feel like we can take social media back and use it to better ourselves, to better our communities, to better our lifestyles, to better our children. And like I said, I want to share 5 ways. But number 1 is we need to start following people and supporting people who educate instead of simply entertain. So many of us want to be entertained, but so many of us need to be educated on everything, on life, on building value in life, on really what's going on in this world, what's really going on in our communities, what's really going on in the political space, because we just blind to a lot of this. But we need to start following and supporting people who educate, who really, it's a lot of people out here. It's a lot of little people that do shows, but they bring in positivity. They educate and they bring in some positive to the table. We need to start following and supporting them more and putting them out in the spotlight. Number two, we need to limit mindless scrolling. We need to start making it our business to use social media with purpose every day, every time we log on. We need to support positive creators. That's number three, support positive creators. If we only reward negativity with our attention, the platform is going to keep serving. I guarantee you, I know it probably won't happen, but I guarantee you, if we start focusing on more positive Black stories and we started reacting more to the positive Black stories and less to the negativity, they would have to cater to it. The whole algorithm would switch. If we started, watching positive videos and did away with the fight videos, I guarantee you the algorithm would switch. It would have to. The algorithms are based on the majority. And if the majority started consuming positive material and started scrolling past the negative material, or do like I do now and block those sites, or let people mark the little video that, I don't want to see stuff like this. I don't want it on my feed. That's what I'll start doing personally. When I see stuff on my feed, I see it's a way where I can block that kind of stuff from my feed. And I don't want to see videos like this. I guarantee you, if we start doing that, we can flip the whole algorithm. But it takes all of us. But like I said, support positive creators. Stop rewarding negativity. Stop, responding to the negativity. Stop watching all the fight videos. Stop indulging. Stop, indulging when they put us up there on the screen doing crazy stuff. But number four, teach digital responsibility to our children. Man, we owe it to our children. I still, for the life of me, can't see how people jump on. I've seen people, talking about this new song, that's, talking about boosting and stuff like that. And I've seen people actually jump out there on a limb and say, oh, well, music doesn't influence us. It's crazy. It's crazy because I'm a music head. I remember gangster music. I remember when people started listening to gangster rap, and I remember everybody turned to the khakis, to the, Raiders hats, with the LA, and everybody acting gangster and everybody talking hard. I remember, the R&B love making era, and people still brag today how R&B influenced so many babies being born or so many babies being made. I went through the trap music era where people talking about trapping, and selling drugs, and everybody, thought it was cool, to the point where everybody was promoting the fact that they sold drugs, and that it became cool. All the way through the drill music scene, where people running around talking about getting hats and how many people, they've killed and stuff like that. And look what's happening. Look what's happening. So to say that music don't influence people like that, or music don't influence people to act a certain way, that's crazy. That's crazy. And if you, don't believe that, you must have been living on a rock somewhere, or you ain't lived long enough to know yet. That's crazy that people would feel like that. But like I said, start teaching digital responsibility to our children. Help them to understand that likes don't determine their worth. That how many views they get or how many responses they get, don't determine their value. Because we have young women who can't wait to throw their butt up in the camera, who can't wait to expose body parts or expose their ignorance in the way they talk, in the way they act. People are quick to throw a camera in your face when you acting a fool. People are quick to instigate people to act fools so they can throw cameras in their face. I've never seen so much craziness in my life. Like I said, we just had this guy, to actually film himself robbing a man, a label head, to get a rapper to get off the label. And somebody felt like, since we extorting this man and we robbing this man, it's okay to film it. It's even okay to film this man over here in the corner holding the gun while we committing the crime. When has that been cool? And then you got people that's promoting it. Oh, it was hard, or oh yeah, he gangster for real. That's slow, man. That's retarded. You recorded the same video that's gonna get you sent to the prison. How is that hard? How is that gangster? How do we not see, what's going on? How do we not understand that that's not what's up? It's crazy, but like I said, help them to understand that it's life is about way more than likes. It's about way more than how many people interact with you. It's about way more than how many views you can get on a video, because we literally exploiting ourselves for views, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy. None of this stuff that we are indulging in, none of this stuff that we are seeing now is healthy. But number 5, God forbid, become creators if you're going to create something positive. Become the creator, not just the consumers. If you don't like what you're seeing out here, like me, create your own. Create your own content. That's where this show came about. Because I felt personally like I looked around and I realized like everybody can start off good. Everybody can start off with a good idea. But eventually it gets to the point where people are more concerned with how many views they get than telling the truth. And honestly, God knows I want views because I want more people to see my content. But I'm not going to resort to the negative. I could easily resort to the negativity. I can easily resort to, gossiping. I can easily resort to, being what I call nosy and sticking my nose in other people's business that don't concern me, like people do with these celebrities. I could have done it. I could still do it, but I don't want to be a part of the problem. I refuse to be a part of the problem. So again, my show focuses on talking about stuff that we don't normally talk about, talking about stuff that a lot of us not comfortable talking about, talking about stuff that we don't want to face as a people. But also, being willing to stick my neck out there, you know what I'm saying, and give my opinion so that other people can come back and give me their opinion too. It's about open communication. And just like I said, I chose to talk about the problems we have as a people, as individuals, as a community, and I chose to talk about the solutions, how we can get better. And like I said, it was a constant choice. And I don't care if I never go viral or never get 1 million views. I'll stick to this because eventually, one day, hopefully my grandkids will watch this, my great grandkids will watch this, and they will get something positive from it. I'm okay if people don't watch it. I'm okay if people don't support it. But if you tired of seeing the negativity, become a creator yourself. Share wisdom, share solutions, share opportunities, share hope, build something that helps your community, build something that you can leave behind to help your future generations. Make videos about your beliefs, your personal beliefs. How you got to where you are in life, the trials and tribulations that you went through. Share them with somebody. They can help somebody. Like, man, it's so throw, but like, I want to leave you with this question before I get ready to get out of here. If someone looked only at what you post on your social media accounts. If a random person just looked and scrolled your social media account, what would you believe? What would they believe you value? If a random person just looked down your social media feed for the past couple of years, what would they believe you value? Would they see wisdom? Would they see growth? Would they see family? Would they see faith, leadership, business, service? What would they see? Or would they see only entertainment? Would they see negativity? Would they see degrading? What would they see? Hey, remember, social media is a tool. Just like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build, you can use a hammer to destroy. Social media can build, it can build communities, it can build individuals, it can build neighborhoods, or it could just as well tear them apart. It could just as well destroy them. But the choice belongs to us. Let's become intentional about what we watch, about what we share, about what we celebrate, and what we teach the next generation. Let's be intentional about how we spend our time. But hey, I'm Mr. O'Neill. This is the P-Ave Perspective. I want to thank everybody for joining in tonight. Like I said, if this conversation challenged you, if it encouraged you, or it made you think differently, please like, share, subscribe, and invite someone to the show next week. At least do that. But until next Thursday at 8 p.m., God willing, I'm Mr. O'Neill. God bless you all. Keep growing, keep leading, and let's keep building stronger families, stronger neighborhoods, and stronger communities. And let's do it together. Y'all have a great rest of your week. And thank you again for tuning in. Peace.